We think that career transitions are guided by strategy and ambition and drive. And the truth is, everybody moves for money or love. It's one of the two things. So either they're moving because they want to make more money, they want to drive a little further, they want to have more prestige that's going to come out of what that next job is, or they're so in love with the person, they're going to move to another location or the mission of the organization or the leader or whatever the cause is that they're doing. It's money or love. And at the end of the day, if it's not one of those two things, you're probably overthinking it. My name is Laura Gassner-Otting, and I spent 20 years stewarding thousands of leaders and thousands of people through massive moments of career shift and life transition during times of disruption and times of uncertainty. If you're new to this channel and you want some career help, please like, please subscribe, please stay tuned, because we're going to spend a lot of time today solving your problems. We know from our research, 10,000 responses from 74 different countries, every possible demographic, every possible industry, that less than half of all workers can connect what they do on a daily basis to the long-term goals of the organization. We know that less than half of all workers even understand what the long-term goal of the organization is, and less than half of all workers even understand what they themselves need to do to get their own goals accomplished. If you're one of those people who's like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing, I don't know how it relates to the organization as a whole, I don't even understand where we're even going as an organization, that's a pretty good sign that either the organization itself is unclear about where it's going, the leadership is unclear about telling you where they're going, or you need to work a little harder to get some sight lines into what's happening in the organization. And most of what we find when people have the difference between, that was a crappy day, versus, I don't know if this career's for me anymore, is just the difference between, I don't know if my work matters, or if I don't know if my work matters to me. So your first assignment is go out and figure out where your organization's going and how your work actually fits into that. And if that then gets you really excited, awesome, you're in the right place. But if it doesn't, it's not that your work doesn't matter, it just doesn't matter to you anymore, and you gotta leave. I think it's really important to get crystal clear about not just why you're leaving where you're leaving, what you're running away from, but really what you want to run towards before you make that change. Because if you're not clear about what you want to run towards, it's really hard to decide whether or not you've been successful in that race. Okay, so you might be thinking that it's time to make a transition. And before you do that, let's test the waters first. There are a lot of ways you can test the waters, from informational interviews to volunteering. You might find out you actually don't like what you find out when you're talking about this to other people. So how do we figure out how to do that? The first thing is to volunteer. If you're somebody who has worked in the program delivery of an organization, but you're really interested in figuring out how the finances work, and your resume doesn't have a single number on it that has a dollar sign or a percentage with it, the way to figure that out, the way to demonstrate that you can do it, the way to learn how to do it, is to actually volunteer. Go join a local organization, get on their finance committee, start understanding how they think about numbers, how they build their business plan, because it's like going back to school, but also serving a cause that you care about, and at the same time, building your network, right? So you can not only demonstrate on your resume that you have experience in this area of finance, but also you have people that are going to then pass your resume out to other people. Informational interviews are like the cheat code of finding a new job. Why? Because you actually get to talk to people who are in the job. You get to talk to people who are hiring for the job. You get to ask them, what do you look for in candidates that you hire? And then when you go to the next interview, that's actually a real interview, not just an informational interview. You actually have the script you can already use. And by the way, most people don't realize that they need to hire for a certain role until they see the person sitting in front of them. And when you're in that informational interview and you're asking questions about their favorite topic themselves, they think you are an incredible conversationalist. So they love you. Take 15 minutes, spend time with them. I guarantee they will give you more than 15 minutes. At the end of it, you will know how to show up for the next interview. I get asked all the time for informational interviews, and I do not want to go to lunch with you. I do not want you to spend $7.95 on a ham sandwich for me. First of all, my time is worth more than that. Second of all, you are probably sending that email to like 50 bajillion people. So why do I say yes to the ones that I say yes to? There are a couple reasons. First, they've done some homework. Hi, Laura. I've seen XYZ that you were on. I read your book. By the way, us authors, we're suckers if you read our books, right? I've done some homework. I've watched this video. I saw you speak. I heard you on this podcast. Something, anything. I did some homework, which is why I selected you in particular to answer these specific questions. I'd love to grab 15 minutes of your time at a time that is convenient for you. Perfect. Lunch is too much. Coffee is too much. And the way that I respond to people is I usually say, awesome, great. I'm running the Harvard Stadium at 6 a.m. If you want to give me a call then, I might heavy breathe in your ear, but I'll answer your questions. And then people will usually say, well, I don't know if I can exercise at the same time. And I'm like, no problem. I'll be the one talking. So I know I can. It allows me to meet and move instead of meet and eat, which means I can actually do a lot of those networking conversations for other people. And I don't actually give up the time where I'm doing the let me pick your brain for the people who I need help from, right? So how can you get the information that you need from a person at a time that is convenient for them? I cannot tell you the number of people who say, oh, 6 a.m.? I don't know, that feels a little early. Do you want my help or not? So here's a news flash. You don't know everything and you don't know everyone. The thing that you're gonna need when you change careers, especially if you're changing to a new sector, a new industry, a new type of role, is to start activating your network. I know they say like your network is your net worth, but the truth is every door opens from the inside, right? The majority of positions are not on monster.com or indeed.com or whatever website.com that you're looking at and just hitting that, apply button. It's actually done through friends and family. So, everyone used to say, learn how to go golf or like join your public parks committee. But the truth is that's where people have these conversations. How are you doing, Joe? Well, I'm doing all right, but my best salesperson just left. I happen to know somebody. That's how the majority of positions get filled. When I was in executive search, people didn't hire me because they could advertise for a position and get a flood of resumes. They hired me because they wanted me to go out and search for the person. And where would I go? I would go to networks and nodes of people who knew the best people in those positions. All these people you're looking for, they're at your places of worship. They're on the parks committee. They're in your bowling leagues. They're playing fantasy football. They are all involved in anything that you might find interesting. They're going to see you as an interesting person, and they're going to start those conversations and understand what's important to you. You're gonna look at your resume, and if you're completely changing your career, you may say, none of these things are relevant whatsoever. But I don't want you just to look at the achievements that you've had. I want you to look at what allowed you to have those achievements. So take, for example, somebody who is in pharmaceutical sales, and they wanna go into nonprofit fundraising. How do you succeed as a salesperson? You do your research, you steward your potential customers, you decide when to ask, you decide what to ask for, you fulfill that ask. It's the same exact thing as raising money for a nonprofit. You're stewarding the donors, you're doing your research on them, you're figuring out when to ask, what to ask for, fulfilling that by helping them feel great. So it's the same skill set, even though it may seem like selling a pharmaceutical solution is different than helping somebody feel excited about curing cancer. But if you peel back the layers from the achievements and you look at the traits and the skills that you need, you'll actually find that what excites you about the next job is stuff that you've demonstrated and had success in, which is why you have confidence about that move going forward. Another mistake people tend to make is that they leave before they actually leave. So they've decided that they're going to leave, and then, we call this quiet quitting, or it's not. It's really just, you're just not showing up anymore. You're mailing it in, and that's not kind. It's not fair to your coworkers. It's not fair to your clients. It doesn't make you look good. People don't remember how you were in the job. They remember how you left the job. And even if you hate that job right now, or even if you are so over the job, in the next job or the job after this, you're gonna want a reference check. You're gonna want that network. You're gonna wanna come back and talk to those people. So make sure you don't burn the bridge by leaving before you actually leave. Go all the way through the finish. If you like this video and you found it helpful, don't forget to like it, to share it, and to subscribe to my channel. And by the way, tell me in the comments, what are your challenges when it comes to hiring? What are your challenges when it comes to finding top-tier talent? And what are your challenges when it comes to your own career? I'd love to know so we can solve it on a future video.